Hey, welcome to Let's Talk Physical Media Live. We're doing it live every single Wednesday at 6:45 p.m. Eastern Time. I have no idea why this is zoomed in so hard, but it is what it is on that end. Hopefully I can adjust it. Probably not really a big deal or anything like that. As long as you guys can see me, you guys can hear me, and everything is crisp and clear. Honestly, zoomed in is probably not that bad, other than you guys having to look at my ugly mug. That's how it goes sometimes. And it's reversed, I noticed. I don't understand what happened with the camera. Everything, all my settings got deleted. But anyway, that's fine. What's up? I see that Mr. Insomniac is here. Thank you, buddy. This is a friend of the channel. I appreciate Insomniac always being here with us, buddy. Thank you so much. Stacy's here as well. John, would you rather be point guard or center? I would love to be a point guard. Probably won't happen. Stacy also said, Send Help is terrific. I think it's peak Raimi. Excited to go see tomorrow. McAdams' career best. I hope she's nominated, but they just take the money. I'm excited. I actually want to see that. I'm hoping I can convince my wife so we can go on Sunday. So hopefully that's the case, because I'm pretty excited about the movie, if I'm being honest. I'm a big Sam Raimi guy. Sam Raimi hasn't really let me down too much in the past. Darkman's a great one, obviously. I'm not a big Spider-Man guy. I'm not really the biggest into the Spider-Man trilogy of movies. Spider-Man 3, I've told you guys the story, was a big letdown for me. But, hey, it is what it is. It happens to the best of us. But Spider-Man 1 and 2 are classics. Let's see what else. Mr. Smelly Potatoes here. What's up, buddy? Mr. Smelly Potato, our channel bankroll member. Thank you for being here with us today, man. I always appreciate you showing up, hanging out. Let's see. Also, this is very true. I want to let you guys know right off the top. Right now, Lionsgate Limited is having a warehouse finds. So stuff that they had in the warehouse just lying around, like Dirty Dancing, the Rambo 5 film collection, and what else is up there? Hell or High Water, which I have the 4K for. La La Land, I have the 4K for. I don't have those Lionsgate ones, but hey, they're selling them right now. So if you are a fan of them, it's a good time to go out and buy them. Let's see, scrolling on down. Thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate you all popping in. And he strikes like Shamrock Balls. Shamrock Balls, a.k.a. David. Good time to also let you guys know right off the top. We talked about it last week. David and I, a.k.a. Shamrock Balls right here, we started our own YouTube channel. But if you've been following this YouTube channel for many years, since 2023, actually, David and I have the Let's Talk Movies podcast, and Let's Talk Movies podcast now has its own YouTube channel. So if you are a fan of the shows, they usually come out. We schedule them once a month on Friday. We also have Access Cinema Appreciation, and our live shows are all going to be shifted over to that YouTube channel. So please make sure you guys subscribe to that if you guys are fans of what we're doing over there. Obviously, if you're not a fan, then don't subscribe. But if you are, we would appreciate it. We got Misery coming out on Friday. We went about 3 hours and 20 minutes on that one. So I would love for you guys to go over there, subscribe. And next in 2 weeks, well, now it's 12 days away. It'll be our last live show together on the YouTube channel over here, the one that we do on Monday once a month. We're going to be doing it one more time here on this channel. Then that live show will shift over to that YouTube channel. Nothing changes as far as everything else on this channel. It'll just be more physical media oriented, and so this way, we felt like it would be better, easier to find, much more organized. And this way, David and I also, form a partnership here that we can work together on. So I just want to keep you guys updated on that. And what did David say? Let's see. No, we're not getting married. No, not yet. Not yet. we're just engaged. Make Mr. Potato Head movie with Seth Rogen. That would be funny. He'd be a good Mr. Potato Head. They had Rambo, but it's sold out. Dang. Yeah, Scotty. So I was actually kicking around the idea. I don't know if you guys saw that I did the Shining 4K Blu-ray review, a re-review. I'm doing a bunch of those throughout the year where I do review classic 4K Blu-rays. I told you guys that the 4K Blu-ray that really sold me on the format was First Blood. I remember I bought it. I bought it on Black Friday. It was so cheap, and I brought it home. I was like, holy shit, this looks incredible. Now, that was in 2017, I believe. So it's been 9 years now, and I don't think that 4K Blu-ray has aged very well. So I might do a re-review of that, and talk about how that 4K Blu-ray hasn't aged so gracefully over the years. But I was also kicking around the idea, like, do I want to go back and rewatch the Rambo franchise? Like, I only really like First Blood. The rest of them, it's just not in the same vein. I really feel like First Blood, and Dave and I have done this also on the Let's Talk Movies podcast, like one of our earlier episodes where we talked about, it's much more of a great like Vietnam film, like much more of a drama, and then they just become these just action-oriented films once we get into 2, 3, and then Last Blood and all that kind of stuff. But for me, I always just enjoyed the first one more than anything. How do you guys feel about the zoom in on my face? It really started to bother me, and I don't know how to fix it. I saw people are recirculating old James Gunn comments, crapping all over Batman '89, Michael Keaton, Jack Nicholson, and the soundtrack. Yeah, well, that's really unfortunate. He's the head of DC now, so he gets to control Batman. I've heard insults over the years about Batman '89. Like, one of my favorite people, I used to listen, I still kind of listen to John Roca, and he said he saw Batman '89 in theaters 10 times. And he's like, it just hasn't aged well, which David and I hopefully a lot of you guys, but if not, it's fine too, agree that we think Batman '89 is still the best Batman movie. And I watched the Batman, was it yesterday? Might have been yesterday or 2 days ago. I don't remember which day. But the Batman is great. I love Batman Begins. I love The Dark Knight. But for me, I love Batman Returns. So Batman '89 is the pinnacle, and it's honestly one of my all-time favorite films, regardless. I love Jack Nicholson. I love that soundtrack, and I love Michael Keaton. So it hurts to hear those kinds of things. James Gunn, though, if you go back in his history, he does make some shitty comments here and there, doesn't he? But this is the guy who comes out of Trauma, right? His first movie was Romeo and Juliet. So it is what it is. We all have opinions, right? We all have opinions that might not be that great. That's not a great opinion by him, but it's still James Gunn. I like what he's doing. I always really do enjoy James Gunn movies. Like, I love the Guardians of the Galaxy films. I think he did a fantastic job. Superman it's all right. I didn't love it as much as others, but I also didn't hate it. I thought it was just pretty good. It's probably not made for me. I'm not a big Superman guy, but I think he's a smart guy. He does good work, but those comments about Batman '89 are unforgivable. I'm just kidding around. Let's see what else David said, and I'll scroll through your comments. I love that we just get to chat. We don't really get into the physical media news yet, but I just always appreciate you guys all. It's a perfect time of year for First Blood. I'm on the fence about watching First Blood and then shooting that review. I think it'd be good for the classic 4K Blu-ray reviews. The next classic 4K Blu-ray review I'm going to be doing is Total Recall, because I never did get to review that on the channel. Ken Shamrock, David is in the Stephen Ray for Crying Game remake. Yes, David. I don't know if David wants to be in the in the Crying Game remake. He might, but I don't think he's gonna want to do that. I made a promise, Jude. Yeah. Yo, what's up, Dark Elite Eric? I love your logo, by the way, buddy. Oh yeah, he crapped on Nolan Batman films too. He's gonna shit on everything, isn't he? I mean, listen, the Nolan Batman films, I'm on record. I don't think, maybe I have the same opinion as I just talked about John Roca. I saw The Dark Knight during its initial run 9 times. I saw it 3 times in one day, actually. That's how much I just couldn't wait to watch that movie. It was an obsession in 2008. It's one of the reasons why I'm a huge film fan. I don't think that movie has aged that gracefully. I saw it 10 times in theaters because I caught 10 when it came out for its anniversary in 2018. And, I really enjoy it. It's probably in my top 5 Batman movies, but I also think I burnt myself out on that. Do you guys ever experience this when it comes to a movie? You'll see when I do my ranking for January. I did a video on here where I ranked my top 10 movies that you should watch in the winter, and I put The Thing at number 1 and I put The Shining at number 2. I watched both of those movies this winter, and I enjoyed The Shining more this time around than I did The Thing, and I think it's because I burnt myself out a little bit with The Thing, watching it every single year, and I think as these years start to get shorter as you get older, you start to notice that you got to give yourself a little bit of break from film, so they won't have the same emotional impact that you're looking for. So maybe some movies need to go on a 2-year rotation instead of being on a 1-year rotation. If you guys feel the same way, let me know. I don't know if that's just a phenomenon that's exclusive to me, but I just thought it was something worth pointing out. Well, to be honest, James Gunn Superman was absolute shit. He comes across very juvenile. You want to see juvenile? Watch Romeo and Juliet, buddy, because he does. But I like the guy. Like, I can always appreciate somebody with opinions. it doesn't offend me if if their opinion, like, I appreciate him not holding back and trying to shy away from it. I can honestly I like that about people. You don't have to be a closed book and pretend to like something you don't, because that was wrong. Coaster for Bad Boys, Sean Penn. I love that Bad Boys movie, by the way. Actors. You start action comedy as a butcher at a butcher shop. I've always said we could do it with the amount of equipment we got there. We're excited for coming up. Jeff's here. What's up, buddy? I'm glad you could pop in here, John Doe Juggalo, and make sure you guys are subscribed over to John Doe Juggalo's YouTube channel as well. You guys know that Jeff's a great guy. We also will be doing our giveaways today for everybody that's in here for that. And I love Nolan movies. I have my issues too. I like to see something more like Kevin Connery's Bat with some fantastic stuff. I would love to see an adaptation like that as well, which we might get. They said that James Gunn was going to do his own kind of Batman movie after the Batman 2, which has taken years to get off the ground. We live in a world where we have the Batman, the Burton Batmans, we have the Schumacher Batmans, we have the Nolan Batmans, and now we have the Reeves Batmans. We also have, the Ben Affleck Batmans, which are fine, in the Zack Snyderverse, but like, you can have your own personal favorite Batman now and not feel obligated to there's so many different options out there. It doesn't have to be that you have to this is your favorite Batman. Like, there's so many options. Like, you can all have your favorites. If you like the Nolans, you like the Burtons. I feel like they're all pretty good. There's some bad ones. Like, I remember one of the most disappointed times I ever left the theater was seeing Batman versus Superman. Not everyone felt that way, but me personally, I was very disappointed that day, and I haven't rewatched it, even though I know there's an extended cut. But it'd be hard. I used to watch The Dark Knight a couple times a year now. It's once every other year for me. Okay, so you understand exactly what I'm talking about. I just feel it, and I worry about that because I don't want to. I don't get burnt out by Batman '89. I don't get burnt out by The Terminator. But like other favorite movies of mine, like Chinatown's in my top 5. I put that on an every 2-year rotation. So you just gotta. I think we all just kind of make those decisions as we go. If I'm Stephen Ray, who does that make you, John? Don't you dare. What's up, John and Chet? What's up, Eli? Thanks for popping in here, buddy. I really appreciate that. Always good. And, of course, Eli, I appreciate you saying this. Don't forget to slash that like button and sub to this awesome channel. I would absolutely appreciate that, as always. Let's see what Dark Elite Eric said. To The Dark Knight, planned firmly in the Bush War years, which is fine. It's a time capsule, but it's like time capsules. You got to take out a floppy disk that just doesn't work anymore. Hey, you know what? That's honestly a great analogy, and you're absolutely right. They are very much of their time. I don't think that I wouldn't put that at number 1 on my Nolan list. I don't know what your Nolan list looks like, guys, but I think I put Oppenheimer at 1 now, and I put Interstellar at 2, probably Inception at 3, and The Dark Knight at 4. I put Batman Begins at 4, and then I don't know. I'm not a big Dunkirk guys, and I'm not a big Dunkirk guy, and I'm not a big Tenet guy. Like Tenet, Dunkirk is just not a movie for me. But all his movies are always well made. Memento's a classic, but I go back and forth on what are my actual favorites. At least as time has gone on, I watched The Thing this year. I think McReady was The Thing was the most of the movie. Was The Thing most of the movie? That's a great theory, actually. I've never watched it with actually looking at him as, The Thing most of the movie. I personally have always thought that he comes out of that surviving because he's the one breathing at the end where you can see his breath and you can't see Keith David's breath. But Keith David has talked about this and said not to think too much into that. But, that's one of the most ambiguous endings of all time. So it's really open to what you kind of interpret that as. And David also said, let's see. John, no one can insult my beloved Batman. I answer to Burton, not to psychos. That's a quote from Batman for you guys. I answer to Grissom, not to psychos, and then pulls the gun out. Better be sure. One of the best lines. What's better? What's better? What about Bob or Meet the Parents? What about Bob? Don't hassle me. I'm local. Yes, bad is like pies. There's a ton of flavors like West. Yeah, exactly. There's so many different variations of Batman. You got your choice of them. We've gotten every different version you could imagine. So at this point, there's superheroes that have only had one film. We're still waiting for people who like Spawn, for another remake of that. We only got one swing at it. Whereas Batman, every couple of years, it's we'll make another Batman. Why not? It's money. It's a license to print money. It's license to kill. It's the Bond movies. My wife loved watching the Lord of the Rings movies in theaters so much. She now wants to go. to rewatch the Hobbit films when they get re-released this year. LOL. Well, I haven't seen the Hobbit films since they came out. I actually own them digitally because a friend of mine gave them to me and my wife, and I wasn't a big fan of the Hobbit ones. The Lord of the Rings, those are amazing. Now, hopefully that's a great experience for you guys to go watch those in theaters again. I'm glad you guys enjoyed that release in theaters. That's awesome that you guys got to do that. Unfortunately didn't get to go this week to go see him, but I would have loved to because it looked like everyone was having a great time. I saw a bunch of pictures online of people going to see it in theaters, and yeah, what an experience. I'm so happy you guys got to do that. Odyssey is catnip for guys our age. Yeah, I know. I'm so excited for the Odyssey. It's unbelievable. I get excited for a Nolan movie every time it comes out, even if like some have like faded to the back while others have moved to the front. I still get always excited for a new Nolan movie. He's one of our great artors that are working today. Let's see. And then let's see. Dark Elite Eric also said Adam West Bat had Robin out of Brand Daylight against guys with umbrella, Tommy guns, and only pantyhose, elf booties. Yeah, and elf booties. Yeah, they're very cartoony. And David even pointed out to me one time about an episode of Batman where Batman, I guess something happened with his mask and it was like like got in the wash and the whole thing was pink, but it was like perfectly pink. Like that's the kind of storylines you're dealing with, the Adam West Batmans. But they are of the time. Like, if you want to see what a 1960 show, just coming in the color was, you watch the Adam West Batmans. Speaking of movies that were released in theaters, we got to talk a little bit right away about the news of Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. This was kind of confirmed to becoming a 4K Blu-ray through Lionsgate Limited, through Steelbook Obsessed. Apparently not coming out on a Steelbook, but in a nice collector's edition and in a standard edition, which I imagine very similar to the other Tarantino releases through Lionsgate, like Jackie Brown, Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2, which had standard releases. Now, I'm looking forward to getting this. I missed out in theaters. You guys can watch a video online on my channel about what happened and how AMC screwed me over with that by changing my movie time without, giving me any sort of notification. Then I couldn't go and see it. So I had to get a refund and I didn't get to watch that in theaters. But when it comes to 4K Blu-ray, I'll get to sit down and watch it again. The Kill Bill, Tarantino's my favorite director. I've never really hid that. I love him. I love pretty much all of his movies. I think Death Proof's his worst movie, and that's like a 7.5 out of 10. So in my opinion, he's never missed. The Kill Bills maybe float more in the middle for me. I right now I'm kind of going Pulp Fiction, Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown. Like, his first three movies are still my favorites. And then I'd slide Once Upon a Time in Hollywood at number 4, Django at 5, Hateful Eight at 6, and then the Kill Bills. And I probably believe it or not, I put Inglourious Basterds pretty low. Not a huge Inglourious Basterds fan, but again, he just makes great movies. So I'm very excited. I'm very, very excited about that. But yeah, it should be. We don't have an official release date yet. The rumor, I'm gonna guess this is gonna be March. That's my best guess, is that we're gonna get this in March. But again, it's something we'll have to wait and see on. Hopefully, we get some more. Like we kind of knew it was coming, but we just didn't have 100% like guarantee that it was gonna be coming. So let's see. Let me go back into the chat because we got a good amount. Silver Age and Dark Elite Eric also said, I missed this in theaters, but I think I'll pick it out. So yeah, so same thing with me. We'll do the exact same thing. Stacy, we'll read that comment. And he was sprayed with a chemical, and it perfectly dyed his cow pink. Well, yeah, right down to the line, right? That's what it was. I thought he got it in the wash and it turned pink, and it perfectly dyed his cow pink. That's hysterical that that's something that happened with that. You can beat Batman climbing a ladder, kicking a shark tail. Well, sometimes you just have to get rid of a bomb. Adam West was so much of that time. And he was perfectly well cast. Did the new cut make the movie better? I didn't like 1 or 2, but a great transfer. I will buy it. So if you don't really like it, it's not really going to be that different. They added a 7-minute animated sequence, and they edited it together. So now, like, it goes seamlessly into a Kill Bill Volume 2. Originally, that was the intention for the film, but if you go back to 2003, 2004, they weren't going to release a 4-hour film in theaters. So it was, cut, and then they split it off into 2 films that came out to about a year apart, probably less than a year apart, if I'm remembering correctly. But because I remember seeing those in theaters, I was a Tarantino fan even then. So Like that's kind of what they did, and then the whole bloody affair has existed without that 7-minute animated cut where they were edited together. They would show in L.A. Over the years. Like I think at the New Beverly, which is what Quentin Tarantino owns. I always wanted to go out to Los Angeles and see that, or go to the New Beverly and or see all those theaters, but never gotten out that way. I'm just stuck here in my little island of Long Island where we get movies released in theaters for like a day and then you miss out. Can hardly wait for Kill Bill, the whole bloody affair. What's up, Mark's Movie Menu? Thanks for popping in here, buddy. Hope you're having a good night. That's high for Once Upon a Time. Yeah, Dark, I know I'm a big fan of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, but I know not everyone felt like that movie was one of his best. I think it's like more of a hangout movie, and people were really excited about Cliff Booth coming out of that movie, and Brad Pitt, and he won the Academy Award for it, well deserved. But I still feel like that was one of Leonardo DiCaprio's best performances, and I really prefer him over Cliff Booth. But Cliff Booth's getting the spinoff directed by David Fincher, written by Quentin Tarantino. The stories of Cliff Booth coming out this year. I'm still looking forward to that. David Fincher is also a great director, so it's pretty weird to see that combination. It's like when Tarantino wrote Tony Scott's True Romance. Like that's like a match made in heaven. I think it works perfectly for that film, even if it gets the happy ending that Tarantino was not, happy with, which is strange because I still think it would look great. Reservoir Dogs, Jackie Brown, Pulp Fiction. Wow, you put you put Pulp Fiction at 3. Yeah, it hurts a little, but I accept it. Just stings. That's all. Just a little shocking, David. Who would you cast in Michael Madsen role? If Michael Madsen said no, it wasn't available for Kill Bill. R.I.P. Michael Madsen. If you could get somebody else, that actually felt like a role that Bill Murray could pull off. I always kind of thought about that. I could see him like being a washed up cowboy living in the desert there. But Michael Madsen's perfect in that role. Just love seeing him pop up. And so I'm creating Sharp Rough because nuts. Yeah, that was nuts in those movies. Yeah. Let's see what Mark. Oh, go down here. Mark says, "I saw the whole bloody affair in December. In my opinion, it changed the tone for the better." See that's what I wanted to hear. See, I wasn't too sure. I was just taking an educated guess. That's awesome to hear. That's why I'm looking so forward to checking it out. Because I had a feeling that I feel like I usually when I watch them, I sit down and watch them back to back anyway, just because I never got to experience the whole bloody affair. So I'm excited to actually finally catch that for the very first time this year on 4K Blu-ray. So it'll be fun. I'll probably have to wait and watch it in an afternoon just because there's no way I could watch that after work one night. I'll be passed out about the halfway point. Watching one battle after another, really digging it. I hope you're enjoying that, Jeff. Another thing I have to update you guys on my list. I was going to talk about this more in my video where I ranked the movies that I saw, the best films of 2000. Everything I saw in January ranked in January because the Academy Awards got announced this past week. We didn't really get to talk about them. If you guys want to talk about them, pop in here, bring it up. We'll talk a little bit about them. Sinners got 16 nominations, but I watched one battle after another in Sinners this month, and to reassess, see how I feel about them. My best films of 2025 list, I put one battle after another at number 1, and I put Sinners at 2. I would flip them now. I think I'd put Sinners at 1 and one battle after another at 2. Love them both. I think they're both fantastic films, but I think right now, I think Sinners is the better film, and I think Sinners, over time, will even get better just because there's a lot in that movie. And it's just, besides being a great film, it's also just very entertaining, which is something that, really helps a movie to be a rewatchable. Let's see. David said, the best part of old Batman movies when they are trying to work out who was involved. And Batman says, it happened at sea. Robin says, sea for Catwoman. And the shark was pulling my leg. The Joker. Yeah, I mean, it's amazing. Well, you got to understand, David. Batman is the world's greatest detective. He doesn't need that many clues to figure out what's going on. I still think Alfred really is doing a lot of heavy lifting. It's insane that in the I talk about it all the time, but I think more like in Batman Forever, where Val Kilmer says, "Yeah, Alfred's a good mechanic," and it's like you have Alfred at 90 fucking years old working on your cars, and you're a Batman. Get under the car. Let Alfred retire already. My God, the man's old. It always reminded me of the Tomb Raider Batman. Tomb Raider Butler. The Michael Gough one. Kill Bill is now my second favorite from Tarantino after seeing the whole bloody affair last year. Really, that's awesome. I always can appreciate somebody's rankings. Let's see. except for David's. I go back and forth between Glorious Bastards and Pulp Fiction is my one favorite from Tarantino. You know, it's so funny. I don't know why I've never been the world's biggest Inglorious Bastards fan. I see a lot of people, even Tarantino. I mean, if you go back, he's basically looking into the camera saying, you know, this might just be my masterpiece. And I get that. It makes a lot of sense why people would consider Inglorious Bastards his best film. There's a lot in there. There's a lot that kind of starts as history revisionist films where he kills Hitler in that movie, and that's kind of like a path he went on for a little while with that Django and the Hateful Eight, and then he's kind of come back. Once upon a time in Hollywood kind of felt like a return to form of what he was doing back in the 90s, whereas like he kind of wanted to make these he's always said that there's two kinds of movies he makes. He makes movies that are set in the real world, like he has two connected universes, and then he has movies that the people in his movies, like Jules and Vincent, the kind of movies that they would go see, and those movies would be like Kill Bill and Inglourious Bastards and Django Unchained and The Hateful Eight, whereas like his first three films and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood were more in line being the kinds of movies that are like set in the real world, even though I think Once Upon a Time in Hollywood would fall more in line with like Inglourious Bastards, because that's history revisionist kind of shit too. But I personally I love Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That's one I can always throw on. Love the music. It's a hangout film, and I just personally I really enjoy it. I enjoyed it when I saw it in theaters, and I enjoy it more now. Alfred is Watson. His cue is man in his chair. Think about how many Bat family members take his jobs over time. That is true. Alfred really is the key. Without him, Batman couldn't do what he does. I just always think it's funny, like when you go back to the Michael Gough ones, and how like just it feels like he shouldn't be doing what he's doing. Like he's down there dusting the Batcave, and we're supposed to believe. Like I believe it more with Michael Caine, and then I believe it more with the more recent ones as well. Like they get more younger actors. I'm like, I could see that. Whereas like Michael Gough, I'm like, I'm just not buying it. I'm like, he looks a little too frail. He looks a little too old. It's hard for me to believe that he would be in there doing what he was doing. Or at least what Batman says. I was just going to say, you don't appreciate my rankings. Sorry, buddy. Maybe it's Pulp Fiction fatigue, but Jackie Brown is so good in my opinion. It's so underappreciated. I love Jackie Brown. I used to have Jackie Brown more towards the bottom, and now Jackie Brown is number 3 solidly, and it floats with Reservoir Dogs. It really does. I think Jackie Brown is a fantastic film, but Pulp Fiction means a lot to me, and we'll talk about this sometime down the line, David, won't we? About it. Pulp Fiction is probably the movie that made me a film fan that I am today. Without Pulp Fiction, I probably wouldn't be talking to you guys, because yes, The Terminator was my first favorite film, and that's why I will never let it get knocked off number 1. But Pulp Fiction, if I didn't see that movie, I wouldn't have cared about filmmaking as much, like, because the nonlinear storytelling, these guys were so fucking cool. The way they're talking to each other, like it blew my mind. I saw it at way too young an age, but it like blew my mind, and it made me interested in movies. So I give a lot of edge to Pulp Fiction, but I also understand what you're saying about fatigue. I just told you about movies like The Thing, and how I got burnt out by that. And I feel like people get, people get like your opinions aren't allowed to change, right? I feel like if you say something, your opinion's not allowed to change, but that's just not true. And that's not reality. Our opinions do change over time. And for me, my opinion about certain movies has kind of shifted. Like I felt so guilty, like saying what I said about The Dark Knight, like for many years, but it's like, it's not like I didn't try. I still love the movie. Just that I don't feel the same way as I did all those years ago. And Glorious Bastards is not a bad movie, but it's become more about the clips people share from it and the movie than the movie itself. That's a good point. I mean, like there are a ton of clips. The meme one, this might just be my masterpiece, has become a big one. There's plenty of that. I love certain elements, like it's clearly a love letter to film. I love that about it. The bar scene, like with the German bar scene, and the three, like that's classic. It's just some of the stuff in between. The opener is a classic. Christoph Waltz is amazing. Like I said, I love the movie. It's just that I think I always thought it was a little bit overrated. Now, I was in high school when it came out, and I remember a lot of people who weren't really film fans loving Inglourious Bastards, and I just kind of felt a little personally offended. Like I'm like, this is what you guys like, and maybe I turned a blind eye to that, or a cold shoulder to it, just because it was people who didn't really like movies, like all of a sudden are trying to tell me how good Inglourious Bastards was, and I was just like, yeah, not for me. Why do you think the Oscars and the BAFTA snubbed No Other Choice? Was the film not deserving deserving, or were they wrong? Well, I believe it's because also it didn't get its American release like fully. Like, yes, they were allowed to watch it, but it didn't get its American full release until January, and I think that might have hurt it a little bit. It didn't hurt Hamnet, but Hamnet also had a pretty big festival run. I thought it was weird that No Other Choice got snubbed as much as it did. I'm not entirely. Maybe they don't really see Park Chan Wook as that kind of director. You know, the Academy can be a little bit snubby like that sometimes. But they did give 16 Academy Award nominations to Sinners. They gave 13 to freaking One Battle After Another. So it seemed like I was surprised that F1 got a Best Picture nomination. That would make more sense for No Other Choice. Now, I know Frank from Frank's Media and Reviews was probably dancing that got an Academy Award nomination, but it's incredible filmmaking, but from a storyline perspective, I just felt like F1 is like, I've seen this before. Like, and that's fine. The formula works. There's nothing wrong with a formula, but I just felt like for Best Picture, like it felt like it should have been something a little bit more special. Now I was happy to see Begonia get the love it does. The biggest snub to me was Marty Supreme's score not getting nominated. That's my favorite score of last year. Now I did get called out and say that I liked it because it's very much reminiscent of a 1980s score. I'm sorry, if you're gonna use a synthesizer, I'm gonna like your score, and that's exactly what they did for Marty Supreme. So and I don't really like Marty Supreme. I thought the movie was good, but I really felt like the character that Timothée Chalamet was playing was a piece of shit, and I couldn't root for the guy, and I didn't want to see him succeed at the end. So, but the score was amazing. So I was really like, how do you not nominate the score? It's almost like Michael Giacchino's score not getting nominated for the Batman. Like that should have been nominated, and it wasn't, and I would have let it win. And then Challenges last year was another great score from Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross. Like that didn't get nominated. Yeah, no, Jason to do his cars. You're right. Never watched Jackie Brown. Ben, you got to do it, man. You got to watch Jackie Brown. Good 4K, too. I felt like that was a much better 4K Blu-ray last year than Kill Bill Volume 1 and 2. Don't be ageist, John. You old bastard, David. Grindhouse. Never saw it, though. Grindhouse is great. I just like Death Proof, really. I'm not a big like Planet Terror is fine. That's Robert Rodriguez's section, and I like the extra trailers. But believe it or not, I don't actually own Grindhouse. I only own Death Proof because if you bought the separate Blu-ray, it's actually the full edition without the scene missing. Because when you watch Grindhouse in theaters, both Planet Terror and Death Proof had missing sequences, because the whole reason it's called Grindhouse is because you would go to like a shitty theater. These kind of movies were getting passed around. That's why the film stock looked terrible. Reels were missing. It was all intention to pay homage to the things that Robert Rodriguez and Quentin Tarantino grew up loving, and they loved those kinds of movies. So they wanted to make their own versions. Now, Stuntman Mike is awesome. I'm glad that Kurt Russell got in there. It's one of his best performances. I enjoy Death Proof, but I don't usually go back. I actually haven't gone back and watched Grindhouse in many, many years as far as like the whole total package. I just wasn't. I really am surprisingly not a big Robert Rodriguez fan. It's so weird. I know. That's why there's an edit button on Letterboxd. Yeah, exactly. Thank you. He's referring to the fact that you can change your opinion on things. Like I think people do get kind of offended. Like when you I've seen people like call me out and be like, oh, you said this about this movie, and it's like, yeah, I did, but for the most part, if I do new movie reviews, I'm only watching it once. And I think on rewatches, your opinion on a movie can change. For example, The Avengers. When I saw the first Avengers movie in theaters, I loved it. I watched it at home. Didn't work for me, and I still don't really feel like The Avengers is that great of a film. I think once you get past the shock value of like seeing all these superheroes on your screen for the first time, which was a big deal when The Avengers first came out, like them teaming up like that, now that's kind of watered down, but at the time it was huge. I think once you get past that, you realize like the movie itself is not that, well made. But hey, that's also just my opinion. That's just like your opinion, man. For me, it was Jaws that made me think of film as art, not just entertainment. And Mark's Movie Menu, I'm sure that you warmed up David's heart somewhere down there about that, because I know a lot of people who feel like that about Jaws, and how Jaws is the one that changed their outlook on film. For me, it was Pulp Fiction. Like I think we all have that one movie that like, oh shit, light just fell. That's because I hit it with my tea. That's all right. Whatever. It's a real shanty town of an operation here in my office. But we all have that kind of movie that like makes us look at film. I was having this argument with a guy who I work with at my regular Joe job. Now he's in his 50s, big Star Wars fan, but he was explaining to me in his mind that movies are supposed to just be entertainment. I disagreed, and I feel like a lot of you might disagree. I'm like, film is art. There's films I watch because I want to challenge myself. I don't always need to be entertained by a movie. I want to watch a movie because it's a piece of art. I want to see, like, I've watched this 4 hour long French film where really nothing happens, but somebody made that, and I want to see it. I mean, like, even like DB Cooper versus Bigfoot, that piece of shit is still a piece of art to somebody. Marty Supreme, my movie of the year. See, and a lot of people would say that, Chris Callie, and I appreciate that. Exactly. Like, I might have not felt that way, and clearly, like, the way that what's his name? I always forget his name. Those other Safdie. There's Ben and Josh. Is it Josh Safdie? He directed that one. Like, if you Uncut Gems, I felt very similar. I love the filmmaking. I have a hard time rooting for the lead characters, and it's almost like an anxiety attack. I also don't know how many people didn't bring up the fact that Marty Supreme, that the opening credits are clearly an homage to fucking Look Who's Talking. Like, no other. What other movie has the opening credits set over a sperm going into an egg? The only other movie is Look Who's Talking and Look Who's Talking Too. So that just shows you that Josh Safdie was a big Look Who's Talking fan, which, speaks right to my heart. Look Who's Talking is one of my most nostalgic movies. I watched that for the first time in many years last year, bought the Blu-ray. Nearly made me cry from nostalgia because I used to love that movie when I was a kid. Giving Oscar nominations out like Smarties. Yeah, doesn't it feel like that? Like, it almost feels like, like certain. I wish more movies would get recognized, not just, the one or two movies. I like it when they spread it out, spread the love. So many movies come out over the course of a year. Why do you only give it to certain movies? Like, I never appreciated the sweep. Like, it's cool. Like, I'm glad like Silence of the Lambs did it. Like, it's fun to look back in history, but so many movies came out that year that it's a shame when like one movie gets all the recognition. It's like the best film of the year when so many movies come out over the course of a year, and some don't really age great. I'd rather watch Cannonball Run than F1. Cannonball Run's a great movie, but I'm telling you, F1's still a good movie. Like, don't let me, I liked F1 a lot. That's probably why I like Jackie Brown more. I realize the aging I relate to the aging characters. Which one? I hope you don't relate to the Robert De Niro character because he is burned the fuck out. But that's one of Samuel Jackson's best performances is in that movie. I love him. He's scary. He's petrified because he's so freaking smart, and it gets the better of him in the end. But that's why I really, and also, yeah, the aging characters. It's such a good movie. I almost put that one on the other day too, but that's one I don't want to burn myself out. I've watched that movie a lot over the last few years, and I always just really enjoy Jackie Brown. What do the eyes go up for? What is Marty Supreme about? So Marty Supreme is about Timothée Chalamet plays a character. It's in the 1950s. He is a ping pong player, a young and a very hot shot ping pong player. He believes he's the best in the world, and he plays it professionally. And he goes over to Japan at the very beginning of the movie, and he loses, but he still believes that he's the face. He's cocky. He's arrogant. He truly believes in himself, and he screws people over along the way to try and get a better footing in the world. He believes that this is his destiny. He has to ignore everything else going on in his life so that he can focus on his career, which is admirable. But I don't appreciate stepping all over people to get to where you are. One thing I got to point out is Abel Ferrara is in that movie. This is the guy who directed King of New York, Bad Lieutenant, Miss 45, Dangerous Game, The Addiction. Great New York director. Josh Safdie is clearly, he always casts New Yorkers in his movie. That's except Adam Sandler's from New Hampshire, but he feels like a New Yorker. But Timothée Chalamet's from New York. He's clearly like his first movie. Was a good time. It takes place at Adventureland. I used to literally work 3 minutes away from the real Adventureland on Long Island, so I should generally love his movies because we basically grew up around the same time in the same area. But it's just like I think we saw the same people, and I think he looked at them as heroes, whereas I looked at those people as assholes. So I think it's just a different kind of filling out for the New Yorkers. Which, by the way, someone has complained about me cursing. I'm from New York and I curse a lot. No, I'm sorry. It's how I talk. What's up, Tony the Lone Rider Smith? I'm glad you could pop in here, buddy. I know I'm the minority, but I think Robert Rodriguez's best film is Alita Battle Angel. Actually, I like Alita Battle Angel a lot. I'm not one of those people. I've never really been a big From Dusk Till Dawn fan. I was one of those people when they did the vampire twist in the middle, and I was like, what the fuck is this? I was really enjoying everything else up to that. Yeah, Darkroom evening, John. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well as well, buddy. Hope everything is going good for you. hit that thumbs up button, folks. I appreciate that if you would. You don't have to if you did, but I would definitely appreciate that. I won't force people to do anything. First time I watched Heat, I hated it. Went back a few years later now, and I love that movie. Well, a movie that I put in my top 10 that happened to me very similar, Blade Runner. I felt like I was misled on what Blade Runner was. Didn't like it. Went back a couple of years later. Loved it. Absolutely loved it because I appreciated the filmmaking prowess of it as much as and I understood what the movie was. More eyes, buddy. Do they still make Smartie candies? Yeah, they come around every Halloween. I don't think you can go into like a supermarket and buy Smarties anymore, but every Halloween, somebody around the neighborhood will probably still be handing out Smarties. Then again, I haven't gone trick-or-treating in like 25 years, so I assume I feel like I've seen them in a supermarket in like one of those big holiday bags. I think the point I'm making is how does movies like The Godfather come out with less nominations than some of the movies today? Are they really that good? I guess the push is bigger and the bar is low. Well, yeah, I feel like you know what it is, and this is why I've always kind of never really considered myself like what the regular like snooty film critics are. Is because I think they all kind of get on board with each other, kind of agree like this is the best movie of the year, and I feel like they're always afraid to stray from like their general feelings. Now, I felt that Sinners and One Battle After Another, I put them at 1-2, so I'm kind of on the same wavelength as them, but it's like other movies that come out that people kind of like ham that. Like I feel like this. Remember last year's Academy Awards? How many? Look through the Academy Awards and look through the Best Picture nominations and ask yourself if those really were the best movies of that year. For the most part, I don't think it's a very good representative of the best movies that come out each and every single year. Not every Best Picture winner is a great film, and it just feels like the critics get on board with each other. They form a line and they say, "This is it. Thumbs up." Give it the Academy Award, give it to them all, and like it kind of misses sometimes, and it's a shame. Like there's some, it always bothers me that like Al Pacino didn't win Best Actor ever for one of the Godfather movies. Like it's crazy that they had to make it up to him for Scent of a Woman. Same thing with Leonardo DiCaprio. Like Leonardo DiCaprio's best performance isn't in The Revenant, in my opinion. It's in there's much better Leonardo DiCaprio performances, but they had to make it up to him because they screwed him over so many times, and I hate that. Same thing with Paul Newman. He won for The Color of Money. I love The Color of Money. Not everybody loves The Color of Money. It's a great movie. Paul Newman's awesome in it. I think I cherish that film. I really do. But Paul Newman should have won for many, many performances before he won for The Color of Money. We shouldn't have had to make it up to him for screwing him over. So sometimes the Academy Award isn't a great gauge of like what is the best films. Stop your fucking cursing. Fuck. It's a problem. Don't live in New York. I will say this year's Best Picture lineup much better than last year's. I agree. Honestly, overall it's movies this year. I really don't think that they whiff too much. I also don't know if like last year was like the greatest year. Like I felt like it was a real separation between the good and like the bad. I felt like it kind of like all of a sudden we kind of had a hard drop off in quality of films. Like there's still a lot of generic studio stuff coming out, while there's also that great stuff coming out, and you just kind of have to separate it. I just feel like the line was kind of drawn there. Let's see. We got to get into the giveaways too, guys. And yes, I'm okay with F1 in there. All right. Like I said, I liked F1, so I can't really complain too much. The other big news that came out this week was that Speed Racer, I already pre-ordered this. The pre-order went up for the 4K Blu-ray, is coming. So you can get that now. I think it's like $62 for a pre-order, which here's all the special features if you guys want to check that out. So it looks like it's going to be a pretty package. No official release date other than the say Q2 2026. How did you guys feel about this movie? I liked it when it first came out, but I haven't seen it since it came out. I pre-ordered it because this is, I feel like one of the big 4K Blu-ray releases. It's a good time to revisit it. I'm excited about rewatching it, but the rumor is this could be like a reference quality disc. So, obviously I want to get my hands on it. A little bit expensive. I would have like really not wanted to pay that much for one movie, but I also know that this is one that might sell out pretty quick. Maybe it's not a kind of movie for everybody, but I'm excited about this one coming. Let me know how you guys feel about it. It's my favorite Leo movie. He should have won the Oscar then. He should have won for The Wolf of Wall Street. I agree. That is probably... I try and think back. Leo, for me, as much as I love Leonardo DiCaprio, and I'd say he's one of the best, if not the best actor working today, he had a shaky start, I felt like. I do love Basketball Diaries. That's a very underrated film from the 1990s. But, he's good in What's Eating Gilbert Grape. He's a good in movies, like, but I just felt like in movies, like in his early days working with Martin Scorsese, it took him a while. Like, I'm not a big Gangs of New York fan. I feel like him and Cameron Diaz are very miscast. The Aviator, I feel like he's too young. And then it just took a while. Then he's in The Departed, and I feel like he gets overshadowed by like Matt Damon in that movie and Mark Wahlberg, and he's fine in that. But then he just takes off like a rocket ship, and it's like every performance he does is fantastic, and that's like right up to this day where he's always good. He's always reliable, and I think he should have won for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I feel like again, Cliff Booth kind of overshadowed him. I very misunderstood this box office bomb, which is Speed Racer. I never got why it didn't do good. It felt I feel like maybe it was people didn't know about the cartoon at the time in 2008 when it came out, and they didn't give it a chance. They didn't know what it was. You see, I used to watch something called the Speed Channel back in the day because I'm a big NASCAR fan. I'm wearing a NASCAR hat right now. Big NASCAR fan. On that channel, they did show Speed Racer, which is weird, but I guess it's because it's a racing channel. So that's why I used to watch Speed Racer. So I was excited about the movie. But I know that everybody was a big fan. Pre-order for the UK edition. Yeah, I believe it was the UK edition. The US edition doesn't have a release date yet. But it's a region-free kind of thing with the Blu-rays and with the 4K. So I felt like that's probably going to be the superior Warner Brothers edition, and I never buy those. So I thought it was good to get that pre-order in. Unfortunately, the fact is most film critics only watch either the trailer or 5 minutes of the film, and then they will join together because they don't want to be out of the group. Exactly, Insomniac. That, like, I can't say it any better than what he just said. And that's always kind of like, that's kind of like what happens on YouTube is like people are afraid to like miss out. Like critics don't want to not get those screeners. Critics don't want to not get those invites to like, to the early screenings of movies. So like they have to like all form a line and like kind of like, oh yeah, but you're right. They're not watching all of these movies. They only watch the ones that they hear from other people are good. And that sucks because if you're going to be a film critic, do the job correctly and stand behind what you like and what you don't like. It's the same thing like with physical media reviewers. If you don't like something, just say it. I respect it more if you're honest. Like you don't have to like, we're all not the same. You don't have to like, we don't have to get roped in together. Like we all have different opinions. I always said film is subjective. I always respect people when they tell me a good reason that they don't like a film. Like I had a lot of good conversations with people on the One Battle After Another review this week because a lot of people didn't like the movie, and they would start out saying, I don't like this movie. It's one of the worst movies. And I'd be like, yeah, let's talk about why you don't like it. They all gave me good reasons. Like that, like that's what film debate is about. That's what we do here. And I feel like some people are just afraid because, like you said, they're afraid to not be invited into the party anymore. So they have to act all snooty. And it's crazy. Oh, thank you so much, Insomniac, for gifting the Let's Talk memberships, buddy. I really appreciate that. I think he does this a lot, and I think people start to you get the videos a little bit early. So thank you so much for donating those, and for everybody who got them. I hope you enjoy it, and yeah, you'll get the reviews out a little bit earlier than everybody else now. So that's always like I have 2 reviews coming for you guys pretty soon. That'll be uploaded. The Great Silence on 4K Blu-ray and Ordinary People on Blu-ray, which just got a re-release. I'm gonna have those up in the next couple of days. Total Recall. I just reviewed this morning. I shot my review for Bullet in the Head. What a movie. And I also shot, I also have Once a Thief sitting over there that needs to get reviewed as well. Let's see, but the Speed Racer Blu-ray was reference card. We'll see how much better they can get. Well, that's what I think people are banking on with the 4K Blu-ray is that because the Blu-ray was so good that the 4K should be even better. That scene in Basketball Diaries where he's trying to get money off his mom, incredible acting. It's heartbreaking. And I tell you, I have my brother, because he's recovered from this. My brother had a drug addiction, and it was like that. I think that was pretty accurate. And I think that's why the movie always stuck with me. So, he's since recovered, just like what's his name, Jim. I can't remember. It's been a while. I had Basketball Diaries on Blu-ray, but like, people do come out of it. But like, it's hard on the family. And I think the movie was a good illustration. I always read the reviews that people didn't like it, and I was like, how that movie? And Ernie Hudson's in the movie. Ernie Hudson, who's one of the most reliable, underappreciated actors as well, and it's Mark Wahlberg's first movie as well. Was Michael Imperioli in that too? Yeah, he was the kid with cancer. I always loved Basketball Diaries. Smashing Machine was gold. And that's another one that, like, what really sucks is The Rock gave his best performance of his career in that movie, and nobody saw it. And it's really a shame because he'll probably just go back to doing like what he usually does, which is just being The Rock. And it's a shame because it's like people waited years to see The Rock act, and he finally did. And it's unfortunate that You know, Benny Safdie's movie. It's funny that they split up and made their own movies, the Safdie brothers. They both made sports movies, both good movies. And I actually think I might like the Smashing Machine more. But that's just me. Look at all these wonderful new members. Welcome to the party, pals. Why isn't This Boy's Life on 4K with Leonardo DiCaprio and Robert De Niro? That's a good one. That's a heartbreaking tough watch. And that's a good call. That's a good young Leo performance as well. I feel like it's kind of forgotten about. Like Robert De Niro's in a bunch of movies in the 90s that popped up like that and Backdraft and what's another one where he pops up? Copland, where he kind of just does like these kinds of, and then people just don't bring him up anymore. I don't understand. And that seems to be another one. The Fan that kind of got forgotten about, like the vid. Thank you. People are burnt out on Rock. Yeah, The Rock overexposed himself. And also, if you watched WWE, which I've not really watched as much anymore, you know, he kind of like the way he handled his character and the John Cena retirement tour and the Travis Scott stuff last year, and you know the whole way that business is being run, it'll be a whole rabbit hole of negativity. I don't think we need to go down it, but like, yeah, not great at all. Very disappointing, and I just think he needs to take a step back a little bit, get out of the spotlight, because you're right. Rock is just very overexposed. Did you watch Christie? That was a good sports movie. I haven't watched it yet. I saw that you can watch it now at home, and I'm probably going to give it a watch pretty soon. I'm glad that you said it's good because I was like, is Sydney Sweeney going to be good in this? But I do want to watch it. I always enjoy a good sports movie. It's a little too early in the year to start watching baseball films, but I always enjoy a good sports movie. Let's also do the digital code giveaway and the members wheel giveaway today as well. So if you join our digital code giveaway, you'll have your option of these digital codes right here if you end up winning them. So take a look, screenshot them. A lot of these are donations. Like, there might not be that many, but hey, we got a bunch of them in here. We'll add to the stage. This is the wheel right here. So we're going to spin this magic wheel 2 times. Then there will be 2 digital code giveaway winners. So let's do it up. We're going to shuffle it up. Hopefully, nope, I don't. So we're going to lower that a little bit, and we'll see who our 2 lucky winners are. While that's saying, let's see what you guys are saying. Let's see, get in the chat. Mr. Smelly, did I read that? Let's see who's going to be our first winner. It looks like it's going to be Paul Bell, 1973. Congratulations, Paul. That's actually your first win, I believe. Spin it one more time to see who the lucky winner is. So yeah, if you did win the digital code giveaway, Paul, reach out to me on my email address, letstalkentmt@gmail.com. I also do have, you guys can also find me on all the social media sites like Facebook, Instagram, the arts formerly known as Twitter. I don't go on them often, so if you don't hear from me for a day, it's because I hate social media. And Rogue One 2006. So just let me know which of the digital codes you want, as long as the other winner. So first come, first serve. First winner gets first option. Not first winner. First one to get to me gets the first option. How can I miss if you don't go anywhere? That's a good point. That's true. That's a fun line. John, I just got searching for Bobby Fischer on Blu-ray recently. Have you ever seen it? It's got a younger Lauren. That is a fantastic movie. Searching for Bobby Fischer, a very underappreciated. And I one of my favorite film critics, William Bibiani, actually, that's his favorite film. That's actually what drew me to actually end up watching it. Let's see. Taking the elevator, going up. I do still miss that. Going up. Also, we'll have to do unfortunately, people don't go to the movies for actors anymore. And that has killed a lot of movies because actors aren't the draw that they used to be. There really is no more movie stars, right? That is 100%. That's just unfortunately the way of the world now. There really is. Actors don't sell movies anymore. The intellectual property or IP, they're the ones who sell the movie, or the director. Like, people want to go see, like, The Odyssey is sold on Christopher Nolan. It's not sold on the great cast. As good as the actors that are in The Odyssey, the director sells that movie because people, after the Oppenheimer and Barbenheimer, like, that was a big thing. And I think, right now he's one of the most bankable directors. And I think Ryan Coogler is going to start falling into that category as well. And also, we're going to do our members giveaway. So I just want to show you guys what's up for grabs as far as the member before we spin that wheel. We do that. Well, you need me, but if you are a channel member for the producers to hire, so friends of the channel, unfortunately, you're not included in this giveaway. But if you bump it up, like Ben Rondo, Harvey Scott, and John Doe Juggalo, and the directors like Uncle V, Nicholas Head, Frank from Frank's Media Reviews and Stone Gasman, and of course Mr. Smelly Potato, our channel bankroll member, you have your options of The Crow on 4K Blu-ray, The Thing on 4K Blu-ray, 2012. The Ring Steelbook on Blu-ray. I feel like I'm always, when I do this, I'm like on the showcase on Price is Right, which I saw the Price is Right this morning for like the first time in years. What the fuck happened to the Price is Right? Rope on 4K Blu-ray. Color Out of Space on 4K Blu-ray. The Batman, the Lego Batman 4K Blu-ray. Pulp Fiction, my second favorite film of all time, on 4K Blu-ray. And then, of course, A Nightmare on Elm Street on 4K Blu-ray, just the original film. So for our channel members, let's spin that magic wheel. We'll shuffle you guys up as well and see who our lucky winner. Kevin Kruger is still on this list, but he currently is not a channel director, but this is off of January. So if he does end up winning, yeah, hey, it happens. You guys might be able to faintly hear the elevator song. Let's see what else Insomniac said. Did you talk about Speed Racer? I did. Did you? We were just talking about it. I like Speed Racer. I'm looking forward to the 4K. Let's see. Sorry, I was spinning. Oh, it looks like it's gonna be John Doe Juggalo or Frank. Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be Jeff. Jeff, that's 2 months in a row, I believe, for you. So congratulations. You saw the stack of movies you have your choice for. You know how to reach out to me. Let me know. I will be mailing that out next Monday or Tuesday. These are for February. I just figured since it's January 28th, why wait to next week to do the channel members giveaway? Let's see. Let's continue on down the chat. Insomniac, look down. Streamer antics help too. Let's see. I think it's because too many good actors take iffy roles for a paycheck. Yes, that has become a big problem for actors as well, is that they just kind of, they want the money first, which I understand. This is their career. Doing a small indie film, they don't really make a lot of money on it. And, they used to kind of be a thing where, like, I did one for you, one for me. Now it kind of feels like they want to get their name out there. Like, Robert Pattinson should be a bigger name than he is. He's in so many movies, but, he's not going to sell a movie. Like Mickey 17, I feel like more people were sold on Bong Joon-ho last year than they actually were sold on Robert Pattinson. And Mickey 17 is crazy. I think people forgot that movie even came out last year. It's just, it was a mixed bag. I liked it, but I didn't love it. That's how I felt about a lot of movies in 2025, honestly. Like, I felt like the cream rose to the top, like 28 years later. And 28 years later, The Bone Temple are some of my favorite films. And, they didn't really make a lot of money. I just don't think people were expecting that kind of movie, which is fine. But I just don't think people were prepared for the kind of movie that they ended up getting out of those films. Rope is a great movie, right? It's one of my all-time favorite Alfred Hitchcock films. We're doing the Alfred, David and I, aka Shamrock Balls. We are doing the 20 films, and we're going to rank the top 10 Alfred Hitchcock films from that pool of 20 films. We're going to be doing that on our channel if you guys want to follow along. So Rope is one of them that were on that list. I love that movie. I hope they come out with a regular Speed Racer. That movie looks nuts. I think they are going to come out with a regular edition. I don't think it's going to just be that. I hope not. Congrats, Jeff. Yes, Jeff. Thank you. Yeah, another win for big old Jeff here. Congratulations, buddy. Long time supporter, literally since the very beginning. How could you trust them? That's a good point. What other news did we get this week? Did we get any other news? It was a very slow news week. I know on Friday we're going to be getting the what's it called? Arrow Videos and April announcements, but we don't really know for sure what they're going to be doing yet. As far as other things, like Bill Hunt over the Digital Bits was talking about how there was a lot of rumors going around about a lot of Disney catalog titles coming out this year because we haven't really gotten too many announcements. So he was kind of saying to be a little bit hesitant about the rumors coming out because we don't really know for sure if those movies will actually come. Now, apparently, a lot of the Warner Brothers titles that are being rumored are actually going to be coming out this year. So we'll have to play the wait and see kind of game, which is cool because there's a lot of Warner Brothers movies that we still haven't gotten on 4K Blu-ray. What do you guys? Is there any big time movies? Like for me, it's still Fight Club is really I don't know how we haven't gotten an official announcement. Like you get the rumor every year, just like Fast Times at Richmond High. Like it's just an easy rumor. It's easy to get clicks because people will see new 4K Blu-ray release. Yeah, but that's like a good guess. Like we make that guess every single year. Like I'm still waiting for Lost in Translation on 4K Blu-ray. I don't know how, is it coming from Criterion? Is it not? I'm not entirely sure, but I always hope for The Color of Money on 4K. I feel like that's one that never, and The King of Comedy. Netflix switched to an all-cash offer to force shareholder vote around April. So, yes, that's another thing which is funny because wasn't Netflix crying poor last year, but yet they can pull out $84 million in just cold hard cash to give to Warner Brothers, or 84 billion. Like they just have it lying around. We'll get the money. we'll get the money. Don't share your passwords. We'll get the money. Don't worry. It's just how it is. Which I'm still on the fence. Like, do I want Netflix or do I want Paramount? I don't know. Who's the lesser of two evils? That's kind of like in the boat we're in right now. Who's worse off? Like, who's going to do better for the film industry? I just worry about Netflix. They're saying all the right things. They're saying they're going to honor the 45-day theatrical window for Warner Brothers films. I don't know if I believe them. That's kind of like, hey, they once they have control of Warner Brothers, they can do whatever the hell they want. So they just got to say these things to like sell us. I just don't know how I feel. John, I haven't won anything yet. You haven't been. I've noticed that you've been a supporter for a while and you still haven't won. I feel bad actually about that. I'm just gonna have to send you a movie one of these days because that's kind of messed up. I feel like you haven't been like one of the fortunate ones. I feel like Frank and Jeff have won a good amount. I mean, and I don't even know if Harvey Scott's ever won either, and he's been supporting me. And Nicholas Head, he doesn't even ask for like he can get his own director review every month. He just throws me the $10 every month and walks away. Which is I appreciate that. I appreciate you guys always supporting. But I always feel guilty. They're broke, and broke is way different. Yeah, you're right. Our broke and their broke is a very different kind of thing, which really does suck because you just got $84 billion. Let's just give everyone else a little bit of money. Stop giving it to Warner Bros. I'm trying to see as many movies as I can this year because they're the genius are talking about going on striking again. That's ridiculous. Hopefully there is no strike. I'm trying to see as many movies. I want to go see the new Sam Raimi movie, Send Help. Again, I said at the beginning, hopefully I can convince my wife to go see that with me. Because I really want to go see that one, and I think she would enjoy it too. Because when was the last Sam Raimi movie? Actually, I can't remember what the last one. Because I know he's done something since Drag Me to Hell. Man, but this one's getting rave reviews, which got me excited. It fell off a truck. What did you think of Connery Bond 4K release? I love that the Iceland Cycle. I reviewed each one of them individually. I'm a big James Bond fan. I think it's it's either that or the Mission Impossible franchise as far as quality, but I love the James Bond films. I love the Sean Connery 4K Steelbook housing release. It's somewhere over there. Actually, hold on. Let's look at it. Yeah, right here. I love this release. I think it's one of the better releases last year. Now, I'm concerned. Are we going to get the Roger Moore collection this year? Are we going to get a Pierce Brosnan collection like this? I don't really know, but I did love the Steelbook housing. I'm a big, just because I'm a big James Bond fan, I really had to grab this release. And yeah, I mean, they did a great job on the Steelbooks. I know that everybody loved it, but I'm always willing to go back and watch some James Bond films. It's just one of my favorites. So I thought I'd show that off a little bit. They may not be movies or movie theaters here too if they keep this up. I think movie theaters are going down a very dark path with the way things cost. Movies aren't making really a lot of money unless they're like IP, like Avatar just can make money just because the name of Avatar sells and people know that you got to see that in theaters, and it's not the same if they don't see it in theaters. So that's kind of the big Avatar problem. Myself, and Irene in 4K would be great. That's just one. I would just don't understand why it's not. You're right, and we've been getting a lot more comedy 4K Blu-rays from like. Kino Lorber's been doing a great job of releasing comedies on 4K Blu-ray. I watched Uncle Buck yesterday. I'm like, wow, that's a great 4K. Even though the first copy of Uncle Buck I bought on 4K was completely broken, and I missed the return window on it because I bought it on a sale and I didn't check the disc, and I should have, and I messed up. So unfortunately, it was just pretty much junk because the disc was broken. That's what I get. All right, that's on me. Does anyone feel guilty watching a movie on a streaming service as a physical media collector? Yeah, I'll admit I do. I do feel that way. I don't really like to go that route because, as you know, we're physical media fans, and we talk about like what can happen on streaming. But on the other hand, there's certain movies that they're hard to get, and like I still have like the Criterion channel where I'll go and I'll watch movies and test them out before I go and buy them. So it's worthy sometimes. Like, but I've been buying a lot more movies like Sight Unseen, like a lot of the John Woo movies. I bought Bullet in the Head and Once a Thief without ever seeing them. I still haven't watched Once a Thief. I got the 4K. I'm gonna get around to it, but I do feel guilty sometimes doing that, just because we kind of support physical media and we're giving our money to these streaming services. But on the other hand, it's like you can't buy everything. Like that's one thing. we want to buy everything, but you can't. Everything's if you could buy every movie on 4K or Blu-ray, it would you'd probably be poor. If it feels wrong, you'd probably be poor. So it is what it is. You should watch the War Games match from Survivor Series. They are awesome. Never thought I'd say that in my life. I used to love War Games. I just had a kind of a problem with the entire way the TKO has handled WWE this year. If I'm being honest, me and my wife are trying to see a double feature of Iron Lung and Help on Friday. See, that's love that you guys are going to go do that together. That's a beautiful thing. A nice double. I haven't done a double feature with my wife, I think, ever. It's hard to get her there. And she's still a little pissed off about me taking her to see Poor Things. I need Assassins on 4K. I have it on Laserdisc, DVD, Blu-ray, and now I just need 4K. When you said Assassins, I immediately thought, you know what we need on 4K? And it'll be a beautiful 4K Blu-ray because Roger Deakins shot it. The Assassination of Jesse James by the Robert Coward Ford. That's a beautiful looking movie. The last Raimi was Doctor Strange. Oh, I have Doctor Strange. I forgot he directed that in the Multiverse of Madness. I have that actually over there. Frank should be barred from winning. That's right. I'm gonna tell him. I'm gonna be like, listen, I'll take your money, Frank, but until you watch Backdraft, I'm gonna have to just review that 4K. I say it every week just to rub it in his face. Did anyone here get the Rambo 4K Steelbook box set from Lionsgate Limited? Sold out at that. Yeah, they kind of found those, and I figured those would sell out quick. I'm on the fence. Like, I just don't have the money lying around to get like La La Land. I would get that Steelbook because that's one of it's my favorite musical. I'm not a big musical guy. I also love me some James Bond. I actually prefer the Blu-rays released in um I'm ashamed to say I love some Bond content on my channel as well as my favorite franchise. I'm gonna have to go over to your channel and actually watch that the Icelandic Psycho because you're talking Bond. I'm always down to listen to somebody talking Bond. It's one of my favorite franchises. I have the Blu-rays too of a whole genre. I have all of them on Blu-ray. I have them. I don't have it like one big box set though. Like I have them. Remember when they released them on Blu-ray and they separated it out into like Bond actors? So I have them all individually. So I have the Sean Connery collections 1 and 2, Roger Moore 1 and 2, the one George Lazenby. They have the nerve to label that the George Lazenby collection. It's 1. I got the Daniel Craig collection, and then I kind of bought individually some of those on 4K when they like. I only bought the last 2 on 4K, and then Skyfall. I don't have all of them. I don't have Quantum of Solace on 4K, and I don't have Spectre on 4K. I just have those on Blu-ray. Then Pierce Brosnan, I have GoldenEye on its own, and then I have that whole individual collection as well, parts 1 and 2. It's hard. I go back and forth. It's my favorite, but we all have our favorite Bonds, right? It's probably still Pierce Brosnan. I was looking for Robin Williams movies. Toys is only an overpriced DVD, and it is not on any streaming service to rent or buy and needs a 4K. I'm surprised that never got a 4K Blu-ray release. That was like one that I always remember the poster. Jumanji got an early 4K Blu-ray release. I actually didn't pick it up. I still just have Jumanji on Blu-ray, which is crazy because it's one of my favorite Robin Williams movies. Mrs. Doubtfire. How did Mrs. Doubtfire not get a 4K Blu-ray release? Like that movie, I watched that last year. That movie still holds up to this very day. It's absolutely, it's heartbreaking, especially if you're a kid of divorce. That movie really rings very true, like I am. We'll definitely check out your content. This live stream is my first intro to your channel. I appreciate that you found me this way, buddy. Now I'll go find your channel. Actually, let me just take a quick picture of your name so I don't forget it, because like that'll happen to me. So let me just do that. So I can go over to your channel and give you a subscribe and check out your stuff, because if you're gonna be talking Bond, man, you're just you're speaking my language here. Just a big fan. Would love to see house guest Sinbad. That would be awesome comedy. Sinbad, very underappreciated comedian in my opinion. He's recovering from a stroke right now, but I always love Sinbad. He's my favorite part, and I'm a big Arnold fan, but my favorite part in Jingle All the Way is him. This is a homemade explosive device. And then it blows up and he's like, that was real? Some sick people in this world. Sick people. Oh man. And he was also best Bond film. I go back and forth. Like right now, I'm kind of been leaning towards Skyfall. GoldenEye was my first, and that one was my favorite. You can never go wrong with Goldfinger. I also think On Her Majesty's Secret Service is deserves a lot more love than it gets. Like I think that people it's so tragic. Casino Royale is another one that's a favorite of mine. I love the 2 Timothy Dalton movies, probably more than most people. Like License to Kill and The Living Daylights are 2 of my favorite. I'm just a big 80s fan, so I really, and I think Timothy Dalton's a very underappreciated James Bond. he only got a shot at 2 movies, and that's why his collection is just 2 films. And they took a really long time off before they decided to go back to Pierce Brosnan, because they wanted him earlier, but he was too young, I think, and he was filming a show. But I really love the Timothy Dalton ones. I would have actually liked to see him do more. Those are ones that I try. I love the score on the Living Daylights, and I love like the grittiness and the rawness of License to Kill. I just think that they're both 2 fantastic Bond movies. I think if you haven't seen them, give them a shot. I liked Poor Things, but I get it. But I went in knowing it was knowing it would pop my friend. But yeah, my wife was just like not into it. She was pissed after we got out of Poor Things. And I didn't love Poor Things. I mean, I love the production design. Emma Stone is my favorite actress ever. I thought that everyone did a great job. I wasn't in love with the movie, but it also could be like my wife was pissed because there's a lot of sex in there, and it's like maybe they went a little overboard with it, and she just, I don't know, she was very disappointed. And she saw, what was that, November of 2024? So she's still recovering from us seeing that. Even though we watched Begonia last week, which is the Yorgos Lanthimos movie, and I really like Begonia. She enjoyed that. So she's kind of like back on the bandwagon a little bit with Yorgos. Brosnan, my favorite as well. Yeah, I just feel like he's got the look. He looks, when I think of James Bond, it also could be like whoever your first Bond was. Like I grew up with, when Pierce Brosnan came around and the GoldenEye video game, and he just looks like James Bond. It's like how I felt about Santa Claus when the movie The Santa Claus came out, and Tim Allen. When I think of Santa Claus, I think of Tim Allen as Santa Claus. So, like some people might think of Richard Attenborough, or the original Santa Claus. From maybe some people think of Bad Santa. I don't know, but I think always like your first one is kind of like the one that sticks out. Is Mrs. Doubtfire James Bond, and in Mrs. Doubtfire James Bond is the villain? Yeah. Even though I've always felt like that was like kind of a mean way to pull it. I felt like he was a great soon-to-be stepdad. He even says he loves those kids. Robin Williams was the one with the problem with him because he was in there raising his kids and he didn't like to see it. But he actually was a very good step parent to those kids. Unfortunately, as much as I love Robin Williams, and Sally Field, I think that they weren't the best of parents to their kids because they couldn't move past their own divorce, and like how they kind of screwed each other over. Robin Williams, I should have been a little bit more of a stern dad, and he wanted to be the fun dad. He wanted to be the cool dad, and Sally Field always had to be the hard ass, and it made sense why they got divorced. But the kids were stuck in the middle. And Pierce Brosnan, I thought, it was trying to be a good stepdad to him. And I think as we get older, we start to notice that about him. It's almost dinner time, John. What's for dinner? I could smell it right now. My wife is making shrimp Caesar salads for us tonight because I'm on a little bit of a strict diet. I've had some, you guys don't want to hear about it, but some people have pointed out that I've lost some weight. Yeah, I've lost about 20 something pounds because I've had some gastro problems. So you don't want to hear about it, but I'm on a pretty strict diet right now. So I can't really, I had to give up my beloved coffee. So I'm a little heartbroken. Oh yeah, it was. So yeah, the show, my favorite car chase scene from the Bond film is in Tomorrow Never Dies. That's a great one. Bond drinking the BMW from the backstreet was awesome. That is a fantastic chase scene. You are not wrong. Hopefully I'm Nage. I completely agree with you. That is a fantastic chase scene. Did you see what Steven Spielberg said about the movie Hook? He said that he didn't care for it. A lot of people don't for it. And he hopes someone reduces the movie with CGI and redoes the movie with CGI instead. Did he really say that? Like, I'm not the world's biggest Hook fan. It's a childhood one that I really like that I haven't gone back to in years, but people love Hook. I get like some directors don't like their kinds of movies. I was actually talking about this with Bullet in the Head in my reviews. John Woo never went back and rewatched that movie. He considers it because he didn't have the 25 minutes that he had to cut from it, and the movie was a failure. So some directors don't like certain films that they've made, and I understand, but Hook's a good movie. He's really, I think he's being too hard on himself. Sounds like you like my Bond ranking based on the film you mentioned. I agree with Nakbo. The car chase in Tomorrow TMD is awesome. Yeah, he's completely right. Tomorrow Never Dies is a great car chase scene. I think I'm gonna have to go check out your Bond rankings. I've only reviewed them individually. Actually, David and I, aka Shamrock Balls, on the Let's Talk Movies podcast, we got our origins back in 2023 because my cousin Matt and we were going to review all the James Bond films because he'd never seen the Sean Connery one. So we were reviewing them. He hated them. And people were like, you got to review this with somebody who likes the movies. And David liked the movies. So the origins of the Let's Talk Movies podcast was us reviewing the Bond films, and now we just break down one Bond film every year along with everything else. So that's what we do on the second YouTube channel that me and David do. So the Let's Talk Movies podcast, we've talked a few. Right now, we're doing Roger Moore Bond, so it's good since we only do one a year. It's going to take us a while, but we do have a planned show where we're going to talk about the whole entire overarching franchise, because we do like the origins of our channel was James Bond. We both love James Bond, and certain times of the year. I was just literally talking to him today about, like, I'm in a real James Bond mood right now, and you popping in here talking Bond really kind of sold me on it. The crazy thing is he's the one that directed it. Yes, that is actually, you're right. But some, like I said, some directors don't even like their movies, and it's crazy that he would say that he would want them to redo it with CGI. Well, David Fincher redid a lot of, like, he went in and added like some CGI stuff and removed some stuff in Seven, which makes no sense, like stuff in the background and stuff like that, or removing clouds or adding clouds. It's like you didn't need to do that, but David Fincher is a perfectionist, so it does make sense. Paul Giamatti is the best Santa. Fred Claus, he is funny. I love Paul Giamatti ever since he was Pig Vomit way back in the day. When might Matt pop in for a visit? I don't know if he wants to come back. We got him back here last November. I think we did that, but that was just kind of lucky we got him in here. He just does not feel comfortable in front of the camera. And, if you know Matt in real life and then you see him on the show, you could see that, like, he's just a little bit, and he was my best man at my wedding. He gave the worst best man speech because he just gets he gets stage fright so bad, and he couldn't handle being in front of a crowd, which is like the opposite of me. Like I love it, but I gave a speech at my own wedding because of that, and I requested it. So that sounds like a little bit that sounds sick, but that's exactly how I was. But yeah, I do got to get out of here and go have some dinner. So I want to thank all you guys for being here with me tonight. I appreciate that. And I appreciate all the new people who found the channel through this live stream. I appreciate Insomniac donating more channel memberships. I thank you to all my channel members. I appreciate all you guys. It means the world to me that you would even support me like this. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, share this video if you could. We'll be back here next Wednesday at 6:45 like we always are. Keep an eye out for new videos coming on down the line. Subscribe to the Let's Talk Movies podcast YouTube channel as well, so you can watch Misery this upcoming Friday. And I hope you guys all have a great night. Appreciate you guys all.